All right, what's up, everybody? Saints lose 15-13. They gag away a golden opportunity to move to 3-0 on their home field with a home crowd that showed out in a big way, gave them a dome field advantage, and they absolutely gagged it away. To say something first before we start, before we really delve into this, this game and everything we all thought about it changed on the third play when Eric McCoy went out. This is something, and I will give a hat tip to my guy, Mike Detillier, who anybody that listened to me and Mike on radio for years, you heard Mike Detillier say this for years, for more than a decade. You heard Mike Detillier say this. 80% of the time a team loses its starting center, 80% of the time a team loses its starting center, they fail to cover. No, I understand that's a betting angle and not everybody sports bets, and that's fine. But you can, even if you don't sports bet, you can fundamentally understand how fundamentally different a team is when they lose their starting center. And as soon, y'all can hate me for this, but I'm going to tell you straight up, I'll show you the damn receipt on DraftKings if you want. As soon as Eric McCoy went out, I bet the Eagles on the live bet. Eagles 3.5 live bet. So I won money today, as much as that sucks. But just goes to show you that's how I was that confident of how that was going to impact the game and what it meant. Immediately, Lucas Patrick goes to center, Oli Udoh goes to left guard, and immediately an Eagles defense, an Eagles defensive front made up of a whole bunch of Georgia guys, first rounders from Georgia, an Eagles defense made up of a whole bunch of Georgia guys who were 27, 28, 30th in the NFL in every statistical category through 2 weeks. All of a sudden, they look like they're back at Georgia playing TCU. Why? Because Eric McCoy is one of the best centers in the NFL. Through 2 weeks, according to Pro Football Focus, Eric McCoy was the highest rated offensive lineman in all of football. Second highest, by the way, was Lucas Patrick. Not on the Saints, not in the NFC, not in the NFC South, all of football. Two highest rated were Eric McCoy, Lucas Patrick. McCoy goes out, Patrick moves inside, Oli Udoh goes next to him. You shake up the whole thing, and undeniably that changed. How much pressure was Derek Carr under today? How ineffective was the Saints running game? I mean, you want to look at the final stats, that fourth quarter, obviously the Saints got going a little bit, but if you want to look at it, the New Orleans Saints, the best offense in football, to put up 219 yards of offense today and score 12 points. You didn't score a touchdown until 2:03 left in the ball game. So we could talk about a lot of this, but undeniably this game changed when Eric McCoy went out with injury. And even still, your defense played their asses off and gave you a chance to win this game. I mean, by the way, Nick Sirianni, they should fire him on the way to the freaking airport. They should have fired him mid-game when he went for the second fourth down coming out of halftime. What do we always talk about with wanting to defer so you get the opportunity to go back-to-back, end of the first half, start of the second half? Saints are up 3-0. Saints are up 3-0. And what happens at the end of the first half? The Eagles march, they're in field goal range, they go for it on fourth down, they get stopped. Idiots. You could have tied the game. Start of the second half, Eagles march right down the field. They get stopped. What happens? They go for it, get stopped. Idiots. You would have had a lead. You could have had a lead right there, Nick Sirianni, but you're an idiot. And you should. And every Eagles fan who wants you fired is right to want you fired because you're a moron. And then Dennis Allen returns the favor because he's a moron as well. You get a blocked punt by JT Gray, hell of a play, your special teams captain, everything on special teams, put you up in a prime situation to go kick a field goal right there when you get stopped. Instead, Dennis Allen decides he's going to go for it on fourth down. What's the old saying? Never look a gift horse in the mouth. And instead of kicking the damn field goal, you go for it on fourth, you get stopped. How different does this game play out with those 3 points? And I get it. It changes the dynamic. Not everything else is equal. But right there, the reason that you kick the field goal to go up 6 right there is because even if they score a touchdown, a field goal for you gives you the lead. And moreover, it forces them to have to get a touchdown instead of playing for a field goal. Now, they ended up getting a touchdown, as we all know how it played out. But the point is, the dynamic of the game, every play call, everything, when you are playing with the lead, you are playing with a different, you are dictating the terms of engagement because of your stead in the game, as opposed to having to play from behind and having to make decisions because you're playing from behind. Unbelievable, man. Hat tip to the Saints defense, though, man. Played there until the final. I mean, I get the very end, and we'll get to there in a second, but played their ass off, man. On a day where the offense was impotent, could do absolutely nothing. The Saints defense gave up yardage. But man, Tyrann Mathieu on Devontae Smith comes up with the interception in the end zone. How about Carl Granderson with the strip sack? I mean, that's twice, 2 instances where it looked like the Eagles were going to go get points and your defense came up with big takeaways. Your offense could just do nothing with it all day. Paulson Adebo finished the day with 10 tackles, the TFL. Tyrann had 7 tackles, the TFL, the interception. He had a pass breakup. It was awesome, man. Carl Granderson, 5 tackles, 2 TFLs, 1.5 sacks, had the strip sack, had 2 quarterback hits. I mean, Brian Brzee, he has not been very effective, but came up with 2 sacks today. It's so weird, like he's invisible, and then he comes up with these impact plays, which is great. I mean, he's showing you flashes that he can make the impact plays, but it's got to be more consistent throughout. The long run by Saquon was absolutely gutting. I mean, as your defense has been so good, then you give up the 65-yarder, and then, Jesus, nobody wants to cover Dallas Goedert. I mean, 10 Dallas Goedert. That's what, no A.J. Brown. Who are they going to go to? Obviously. And then Devontae Smith gets knocked out of the game as well. What are they going to do? Freaking target Paris Campbell, Kenneth Gainwell? Of course, Johnny Wilson got his first catch as an Eagle. Of course they were going to Goddard. 10 for 170 and the 61-yarder that broke your back at the end. 10 catches on 11 targets. I mean, it's inexplicable how when they were without A.J. Brown and you knew they had to go to Goddard, he still had that kind of day. It's inexplicable. It's inexcusable how that played out. That is so disappointing, man. It's so freaking disappointing. And I get it. Where I started, the game freaking changed. The game changed when McCoy went out. It fundamentally changed when McCoy went out. But you still got to adjust, and you had a chance. Dennis Allen cost you today by not kicking that field goal after the block punt when you had the opportunity, and Derek Carr was bad today. I tell you, you want to give credit where it's due, criticize when warranted. And today, criticism is warranted. Derek Carr was 14 to 25 for 142, a touchdown. The pick at the end is inexcusable. You don't need, even Greg Olsen said on the broadcast, you don't need the big chunk play there. You had your timeout. You had time to get down the field. You needed a field goal to tie. You didn't need the big chunk play right there. You didn't need to put the ball in harm's way. When Derek Carr's sitting there with a clean pocket and all day to throw and open receivers, yeah, it's pretty good. When it's crunch time and he's getting pressure like he did all day today, he can't beat another team. That's the Derek Carr that we've seen. Now, my hope is nothing's wrong with Eric McCoy with that groin. He's able to come back after that injury, and this line can reassert itself. But that's the problem, right? You saw it on display today. Listen, it's the NFL. Look at the scores around the league today. Look at the scores around the league any flipping day, man, in the NFL. This is what it is. It's hard to win in the NFL. Everybody's got pros. I mean, my God, the Green Bay Packers blow out Tennessee 30-14 on the road. Friggin' Malik Willis looks like a friggin' all-pro quarterback out there. Guy who just got cut by Tennessee out there looking like an all-pro against his former team. He's been in Green Bay for 3 weeks. It's the NFL. Everybody's got pros. It's hard to win. I know you're not going undefeated, and I'm not mad today because they lost. Like, you're going to lose games in the NFL. I'm mad today because of how that loss transpired, because you could have won that game on your home field. You should have won that game on your home field. You knew teams were going to adjust to you, and that was only a matter of time. We talked about all the last 2 weeks. But Carolina's a bad team. We know that, but you still scored 47. You went to Dallas last week. You were awesome offensively. You scored 44. It's unrealistic to think they're going to go score 40 every game. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying they need to go score 40 every game. But you didn't even get in the end zone until 2:03 remaining in the ball game. You couldn't get your rush offense going. They adjusted to your wide zone. And when Eric McCoy went out, the interior of your defense your offensive line got absolutely mauled by that Philadelphia defensive interior. Like, really quick, just look at Tennessee or Philadelphia's defensive stats. 6 TFLs, 8 passes defensed, 4 quarterback hits. You want to compare that to what it was like a week ago for Derek Carr against Dallas? When you want to look at what Dallas's defense was or wasn't able to do, the Dallas defense last week had 1 sack, 2 TFLs, 3 pass defense, 1 quarterback hit. It's night and day. It's night and day when you got pressure. And Derek Carr did not handle it well today at all. 14 of 25 for 142, a touchdown and a pick, the backbreaking pick at the very end of the ball game. So it's really disappointing, man. You know, you're 2-1 where you sit right now. And as we kind of looked at it, like we always talked at the beginning of the season, you wanted to be 4-3 after that Denver game. Realistically, I didn't think they'd beat the Cowboys or the Eagles before the season started. You got a split there. The disappointing thing is that you should have won them both. You should have won this football game today on your home field. Now you got to go back-to-back road games. You're on the road at Atlanta, then you're on the road Monday night against the Chiefs, home against Tampa, then short week against the Bucs. Can you go win a divisional game on the road Sunday at noon against the Falcons? I don't know. We'll see what the Falcons do. The Falcons are they got a tough ass tonight. Falcons are playing on Sunday Night Football tonight against Kansas City. That's in Atlanta. But the Falcons could take an L, drop them to 1-2 in the division, and you get to go on the road next week to Atlanta. And then after that, of course, as I mentioned, you got to go to Kansas City. So if you can't get it together next week with or without Eric McCoy, if you can't get it together and go win on the road in Atlanta, you're losing at Kansas City. You're going to be 2-3 coming home against Tampa and the Broncos, and you're going to have to win both of those games. Maybe you can, but you felt like you gave yourself a little bit of a leg up by beating Dallas on the road the way you did, and you just gave that game right back at home against Philly today in a game you had no business losing. Massively disappointing loss. Blown coverage. Carr was Carr. That's what it comes down to. He was today. He was the guy. And I know what some of y'all are going to say. There goes Scone crushing Carr after he was great the last 2 weeks. He was. But I'm going to tell you this. The same thing I say every single day. In the last 2 weeks, I praised Derek Carr because he deserved it. Credit where it's due, but criticism when justified. And criticism of Derek Carr today is justified. Yes, his starting center was out. That's massive. I told you, if you just jumped aboard with us, started the show just a minute ago telling you, Mike Detillier taught me well over the years. Anytime a starting center is out, that team fails to cover 80% of the time. Third play of the game, Eric McCoy went out. I live bet Philly plus 3.5. It's that hard to overcome the loss of your starting center. It fundamentally changes what you do. It's part of your battery. It's like a catcher in baseball. It sucks when you lose that guy. But you still had opportunities today, man. And the interception at the end was inexcusable. Dennis Allen not kicking the field goal after the block punt was inexcusable. Nick Sirianni tried to gift wrap you this damn game by passing on 2 chip shot field goals. And you can look at the way it played out. You fundamentally change how that game is played. Unbelievable. Third down defense today was atrocious as well. That's another thing that was just absolutely gutting. I mean, absolutely gutting to be sitting there at the end of that ball game. I mean, Philly's facing a 3rd and 16. A 3rd and 16. A 3rd and 16. And Dallas Goedert rips off a 61-yarder on 3rd and 16. I mean, just an absolute. And by the way, you want to talk about how bad Nick Sirianni is again? Not only the 2 missed field goals, but then this jackleg decides he's going to attempt one from 60. Gives you half a field, and ultimately you go get the go-ahead touchdown. 3rd and 16, 61 yards for Dallas Goedert. Philadelphia today, 6 of 14 on 3rd down. Saints were 6 of 13. They were 1 of 3 on 4th. Brutal loss. I mean, you could lay the blame at so many different people's feet. 3rd and 16 at the end. Not kicking the field goal after the block punt. 65-yard gashing run by Saquon. The interception by Carr at the end. Inexcusable, man. Thank you, Chance. I forgot. I got to mention this. How about friggin' Trevor Penning? I mean, how about Trevor Penning Absolutely inexcusable, man. Absolutely inexcusable. Beautiful block. Beautiful block on 3rd and 4 to get Kamara to the edge and get the first down. And then this freaking jackleg, who I was so excited when the Saints drafted him. I loved the pick when they took him because I watched all of his film. And I love when he was getting in fights in his first training camp. I defend. I'll go find a video for you. It's on AFR Saints YouTube. I defended Trevor Penning because I said, you know what? I love the fact that this is a dude from northern Iowa that nobody believes in, that's got a chip on his shoulder, and he's out there at the Senior Bowl against dudes from Michigan, places that would have never recruited him, and he's out there blocking them through the whistle and roughing them up. I love that. Big, nasty dude that was always going to play with that edge. And all he has done is been an albatross around the neck of this organization. No feet, can't play tackle, and then stupid penalties 2 weeks in a row. 2 weeks in a row, stupid penalties. That one on Slay was friggin' inexcusable. Now, the unintended benefit of that is when Slay went out, Derek Carr very promptly went and targeted his replacement right away for Olave to get you down the field. You ended up scoring right there, but still an inexcusable penalty in that point of the game for Trevor Penning. How bad are the backups if Penning is starting? It's a great point. That is the point. I mean, Oli Udoh is one of your options right there. Big kid from Kentucky, Landon Young, who was hurt today, but anyway. Y'all smash the like button, please. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Parish Construction and Roofing, y'all do me a favor. The one thing y'all can do to help make my day better, if you wouldn't mind. Parish Construction and Roofing. You need a roof, go to Parish, parishbuilt.com. Anywhere in Louisiana. There. I just posted it in there. All right, y'all. Spencer Rattler. Someone asked about Spencer Rattler. He's the Rattler is the emergency third quarterback. Any lineman in trade for in free agency? I mean, you could always trade for somebody. The one in free agency that we've talked about forever is David Bakhtiari. A.T. Perry was unavailable today. God dog, these comments are moving fast. Anyway. Yes, like Caleb said, would McCoy have made a difference? Absolutely. Like, look at the very start of the game. Like, I mean, I don't want to like oversimplify it, but the first, sequence of the game, a freaking camera went out again. I'm so sick of this freaking camera. I swear to freaking God, I'm gonna throw this camera in the fucking ocean. God damn it. Not in the mood for this shit. Fucking camera. There we go. We're back. Yes, it would have made a difference. The Eagles' defensive front has been atrocious all year. That's been one of the storylines we talked about. The Eagles' defensive front made up with all those Georgia first rounders. They've been awful all year against teams that aren't even good running teams. Yes, absolutely. You don't think having Eric McCoy, who's the number one rated offensive lineman in the NFL through 2 weeks by Pro Football Focus, you don't think that would have mattered? How much pressure came right up the middle? Dude just running over Lucas Patrick. Yes, it would have been better. You got to go win at Atlanta next week. Hope Atlanta loses tonight against Kansas City, which I think they will. But then you got to go. Then you got to go win at Atlanta next week, y'all. You got to win that game. You got to win at Atlanta because you're going to lose to Kansas City. And then you come home for games against Tampa and a short week Thursday night against Denver. You can still put yourself in a good situation, man. There it is. Buddy D, Mike D. I mean, not Mike D is the one who told me that, but that's what we always say. Anyway. All right, y'all. I'm going to take Drew to the mall. Thanks for being there. Much love. Sucks that it went this way. Who dat? Some of y'all talking about needing Taysom Hill. Yeah, I think there were certain short yardage situations where not having Taysom Hill hurt you today. Certainly the fourth down. The single wing when they did the direct snap to Kamara, direct snap to Taysom, probably a different result there. Yeah, but it's no excuse. Even in spite of all of that, you were right there with the lead. You give up a 61-yarder to the tight end on 3rd and 16. You had opportunities. Even after that, you had enough time with a timeout. Derek Carr goes and makes an awful pass for an interception. Taysom Hill, for those that ask, Taysom Hill has a bruised lung. That's why he was out. All right, y'all. Let's go Chiefs. Let's beat the Falcons tonight. Tampa lost, which is certainly good for New Orleans. You gotta go win next week. You got to get this shit back together, and you got to go win next week in Atlanta. All right, y'all. Smash the like button. Subscribe to the channel. Thanks for being there. Much love to all of y'all. Bummer of an afternoon, man, for it to go the way it did. But who dat? Let's get them next week. Y'all have a great day. Peace.